Hello everyone, it's the Shnakey back again with another video, and you're seeing some Call of Duty World at War, and you're also probably thinking to yourself, Shnakey, what the fuck, this is your second video in like a week, what's going on? Well, I've had some free time in my hands, so I thought I'd get another video out there for you guys. Today, as you can see by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather duking it out inside the, I was going to say, octagon squared circle, I think is what the boxing aficionados would call it. I'm going to be weighing in at the situation, giving you an Irish guy's insight into what's going to happen. Me being a boxing fan, you know, it's interesting. I've got a huge amount of respect for UFC as well, or mixed martial arts, should I say, because UFC is rather a promotion for mixed martial arts. As you're seeing on the screen, we've got some Call of Duty World at War, and we're jumping into the game here at round 4, simply because the first few rounds nothing much was happening and not overly interesting gameplay, so I thought I'd bring you in here. And as you can also see, or maybe can't see, quality can dip up and down, and so can the FPS. That's because I'm using the fantastic inbuilt game DVR feature that comes with the Xbox One. I am of course being fucking sarcastic, because it's terrible. I've also sped up between rounds when I'm repairing the windows to avoid whinging, because I know there'll be somebody in the comments that will always complain about that, so that's been done for your convenience. I've recently got back into this game. I had a friend over for an evening and we just, you know, played Call of Duty World at War pretty much for the entire night. It was great. It's probably my favourite local co-op first-person shooter, and you know, it just never gets old. I think today they've overcomplicated this whole zombie thing with the newer modes that are in the newer Black Ops, or the newer Call of Duty games rather, but I still think this is probably one of the best if you just want to pick it up and play it. Got that guy's head there. As you may also know, I'm not recording this live. This has been pre-recorded and I'm then voicing over it, which I very rarely do. I often like to commentate when I'm actually playing the game, because I feel it gives me a better sort of it gives me more kind of opportunity to react to things and to do things on the fly. So this is going to be different for me today, but hopefully, you know, because it's different doesn't mean necessarily it's going to be any worse, and I might do more of these videos again. So a huge amount of zombies coming in the window there, which should lead me on to talking about the fight and what's going to happen. As we know today, boxing has gone through a bit of a decline, and I think that, you know, mixed martial arts came in to fill that void, because it is a very interesting sport to watch. It's very multifaceted. There's lots of different you know, ways to take out your opponent and to end a fight, whereas boxing is, you know, just striking with your hands, and, you know, knockout is normally the way to do that. But boxing for me still is my favourite sport, and it holds a big place in my heart. And speaking of that, I hope to get more Fight Night Champion videos out there as well, because that seems to be a video type that a lot of you have been asking for, so definitely I'll be listening to that. And when I get hold of a capture card again, or a capture device rather, should I say, I will do that. And it will just mean for higher quality video recording, because let's be honest, the Xbox DVR is there, it's a free feature, and that's fine that Microsoft have included it, but it's just not very good at all, you know, really isn't. And I think that, you know, they really do need to try and improve it. The way that I recorded this was I streamed it over to my laptop, and then I from there recorded the footage using the Xbox app. And it's fine, it does the job, but it's definitely not something in the long term that I plan on using. I want to get back to good quality, you know, HD recordings with a good frame rate, hopefully 60 FPS or something like that. So there's another guy's head gone, going for plenty of headshots in this game. The fight itself, for me, has been, you know, brewing. It's been brewing for a long time, but there was a lot of talk about this happening, and I think it came from, you know, McGregor probably being the most charismatic and, you know, big name in the UFC world at the moment. And yeah, he's a great mixed martial artist. He's got a great stand-up game. You know, he's an impressive striker, and that comes from his boxing background. And then he also has that sort of, you know, unorthodox, if you want to call it, you know, capoeira and taekwondo style, where he throws kicks from all different angles, and because of that he's unpredictable. You know, people don't really know how to deal with him, and that's probably in turn a lot of the reason that he's been so successful. He's not undefeated, he's been defeated 3 times, I believe, and that's just lent to the fact that it shows that he's not invincible. You know, he's there, he's fallible. and any fighter is, you know, the best of fighters have had their bad nights, you know. If you look down through history, there's been some fights there which, you know, people were assured one fighter had victory, and then, you know, the other fighter overcame it. You know, I'm thinking the one that comes to mind just off the top of my head now would probably be when George Foreman fought Michael Moorer. You know, Michael Moorer being the younger guy, George Foreman having come back and being a very vastly different fighter to what he was. You know, when he was younger, he was a lot, you know, trimmer, and he had, you know, relatively good amount, you know, more speed than he had when he was later on in his career. But if we look at Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, I think the best way to start it off is just by weighing up the two fighters and what they bring to the table. Conor McGregor is a fellow Irishman, and as a result of that, it's interesting to see that he's come so far from Crumlin or from Dublin, should I say, from boxing in the Crumlin boxing gym. Between the ages of 11 and 17 is when he boxed as part of the Crumlin boxing gym. And in this time that he was there, he won, I believe it was a Dublin Novice Championship. So as I said, he has got a boxing background, and he was boxing for a good few years. So the background is there. But I don't think a Dublin Novice Championship stacks up to a Golden Gloves win that Floyd Mayweather had when he was starting out in his career. Mayweather comes from a family of boxers, and, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, boxing has been drilled into him from a very young age. He's come from a very difficult upbringing, which Conor McGregor, you know, I'm sure didn't have it easy either growing up in Dublin, you know. But at the same time, Mayweather lived and breathed boxing when he was younger, and he saw it as his opportunity to get out, which again, there's a lot of, I suppose, comparisons to be drawn to McGregor there in terms of that. But overall, looking at the two fighters, it's a boxing match at the end of the day, and the way I look at it is that Mayweather has been fighting the best of the best his entire career. He's always, you know, these are, when I say the best of the best, I mean people who have been training at that sport all of their lives. So, you know, even his first 5 fights would have been against men who would have been training in boxing since they were of a very young age. They may have just become journeymen as time went on, but they were still, you know, relatively skilled boxers. You know, it was their sport. Conor McGregor trained in boxing as well at a young age, but he hasn't followed that through to the middle stage, and probably won't follow it through to the end of his career either. He's not boxing all the time, and as a result of that, you know, that's going in Mayweather's favour. You know, to put it in simple terms, McGregor isn't a boxer. You know, that's not what he does. He's a mixed martial artist. He relies on striking from unorthodox angles, you know, spinning back fists. He relies on using kicks, and he relies on, you know, sometimes taking his opponent down using ground and pound, none of which is allowed in boxing. And the main argument, I think, and what people have been saying on a lot of, you know, boxing forums and things like that, is that McGregor is going to give Mayweather a lot to think about. He strikes from unorthodox angles, you know, he does this, he does that. McGregor is limited on what he can do inside the boxing ring. You know, there's rules and regulations attached to this. I'm just taking note here of me using this Magnum and how utterly fucking terrible I am with it. I seem to forget that its range is diabolical, so you basically can't kill zombies from, you know, anything but 10 feet away from you. And I've kind of realised that here now. I think I got off a few more shots with it, and I go promptly back to the Thompson again. But yeah, so I mean, he's limited on what he can do, and that swings in the favour of Mayweather again. You can analyse this fight all you want, but when you break it down in simple terms, there's no real scenario that I can see McGregor, you know, hurting Mayweather. Mayweather has a pretty solid chin as well, and I think people forget about that. And that's, you know, that can be up for debate. Some people would staunchly argue against me in that. But when you have a guy where you're looking back over his career and you're looking for, you know, you're talking about 3 instances or 2 instances when he was rocked, which I think is the figure. I think it's something like 3 times he was only ever rocked. And the time that I remember was, of course, when Shane Mosley fought him. But, you know, when he does get hit, his chin, it holds up fairly well. So, you know, even if McGregor does hit him, you know, I don't see that really being a problem for him. I mean, sure, McGregor has got power, you know, he can throw a punch, but it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be the type of power that will affect Mayweather. But will he even be able to touch Mayweather is the thing. There's great odds, you know, for McGregor to win this fight. If you're a betting person, you could definitely put some money on McGregor and hope for, you know, the whole puncher's chance analogy. We're coming up to the end of the gameplay here now, so I'm going to kind of wrap up my points. Probably been a bit rambly this, but I've been kind of trying to best explain what I think. I'm not coming at this, I'm obviously a boxing fan, so people are going to say that I'm biased for that reason. But on the grand scheme of things, you know, even if you're not a boxing fan, if you're a UFC fan, you have to really accept that this is Mayweather's area. You know, he's beaten the best in this area, and he knows every time that he gets into the boxing ring what's going to be in front of him. You know, he's trained for nearly every situation, he's fought every style. I would sum it up like this: if the best fighters at the time, like Pacquiao and more recently Canelo Alvarez, you know, couldn't really do much damage to Mayweather in any way, I don't see McGregor, whose biggest boxing accolade is winning that Dublin Novice Championship from the Crumlin Boxing Gym. I don't think I can see him doing that. He's moved on to have a pro career in another combat sport, but at the end of the day, everything is favouring Mayweather in this fight. Would it be worth putting money on McGregor? If you're an extremely wealthy person, which I can tell you that I am not, it might be worth putting some money on McGregor. But overall, you know, you would want to be very, very sure of him, and something pretty miraculous would want to happen on the night. So that's my kind of overall opinion on it. As I said, I want to go back more to the boxing and talking about it, you know, giving more opinions on it, and just kind of weighing up some of the fights that could be happening, you know, in the future, coming up, should I say. I'm struggling to talk here again, which happens to me sometimes. But another point that I want to make as well is the argument that it's going to be detrimental to their careers. Mayweather's career is over, so I don't know, does he obviously has his 50 to lose, which, you know, is going to be something for him that he doesn't want to lose. McGregor may have to go back to the UFC, and that probably will tarnish his reputation in terms of, you know, his striking. It's still a combat sport. He lost a fight in a combat sport, so we will see. Okay guys, this is the end of the round here. As you can see, the zombies corner me in, and that's me finished. Check out my channel, subscribe to my videos, and turn on notifications. I'll see you very soon.